What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Breaking and Entering podcast. Week one of the NFL preseason is officially underway. We're getting into the NFC North today. My team, it's a couple of teams that's going to want some revenge on us, so not really looking forward to playing the NFC North this year. Both of our teams, both of our divisions playing the NFC North. Brandon, speaking of, how you doing today, man?
Doing good. It's Victory Friday, even though it's preseason.
You know what? Now that you mentioned that, I don't really bet a lot, but I should bet on Ravens preseason games because y'all, like the last decade, y'all probably like 102 in preseason games. I really should like place bets on y'all, but I fuck around and be the thing that would cause y'all to lose preseason games. So let me just keep watching as I usually do.
Yeah, we pretty good in the preseason. I can't complain for the most part.
I hear you.
All right, everyone, let's get to this opening drive. Chargers, they've lost their left tackle, Rashawn Slater, for the season after he tore his patellar tendon. Slater, he previously signed an extension not too long ago, making him the highest paid tackle in NFL. Lions cornerback Ennis Rakeshaw, he'll miss the entire season after suffering a shoulder injury. Steelers veteran defensive tackle Cam Ward, one of the leaders of the team, he's looking for a pay raise according to ESPN. Matthew Stafford, a quarterback for the Rams, he could return to practice as soon as Monday. He continues to nurse a bad back. Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson, he left Thursday's game against the Ravens with a pinky injury. I originally thought it was an arms injury, is what they said on the broadcast, but they said a little bit later it was his pinky. And Texans defensive back Jimmy Ward, he was arrested Thursday on a bail violation. I know, Ed, you have a few thoughts on these.
Yeah, first the Chargers losing their tackle Rashawn Slater, man. Always hate hearing about players going down season injuries. Patellar tendon, it sounds pretty serious, a kneecap, stuff like that. I think that's going to have a huge impact on the Chargers. He's arguably their best offensive lineman. So I'm really interested to see how they look going here out with the run game is going to look like and the passing game. Because, like I said, I think he's a huge piece at the offensive line. And honestly, if I'm a Rams fan, I'll be a little bit concerned about Matthew Stafford having issues with his back and having a bad back in this preseason week one. I know he still got some time, but that stuff might flare up during the season, especially when he starts taking real hits and people ain't gonna go easy on him. They're gonna try to knock him out the game, especially with the Rams potentially on paper at least being a really good team. So I'd be concerned if I was a Rams fan of Matt Stafford, having a bad back already. Like, damn, I know he's up there in age, long in the tooth, but geez, this preseason, all season, what happened?
I agree. I think the only thing I differ, not necessarily with you, I was watching ESPN this morning. I think it was Damian Woody said yesterday, like they should be concerned because he hasn't practiced. I'm not concerned about the fact that he hasn't practiced, besides maybe the continuity with him and Devontae Adams, but he was drafted in '09. He's been in the league for what, 16, 17 years. So I'm not concerned with him missing practice in a sense. Yes, the fact of what you're saying, I 100% agree with, because we all know a back can flare up. We're what, 30, 34, 35 now. And I know I had a bad back from an accident about 10 years ago, and it continues to give me problems to this day. But as far as the practice goes, again, not something you said, just something I saw on TV, and I know Marcus Spears agreed with it too. I don't think it'd be a problem once he get back on the field as far as his continuity with Devontae and Puka Nakua and Higby and those guys, Tutu Atwell, all those guys out there with the Rams. Their targets.
Yeah.
All right. Turning our attention to the NFC North, 15-2, undefeated in their division, 8-0 on the road, and 11-1 against their own conference. That was the Lions a season ago, but they were blown out against Ed's Commanders in the NFC divisional round. They were one of the best teams last season. But how does Ed see them doing this season?
Yeah, man. Why the hell we got to play the NFC North? We got to worry about the Lions. It's another team we're going to talk about too that we're going to have to worry about. Like you said, we blew them out. I think a lot of people were surprised by the outcome of the game and just how the game went. I was certainly surprised happily, pleasantly surprised, but still, at least going into this year, I want to talk about the coaching stages first because we all know Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, they both left to become head coaches on other teams. So, coaching wise, I wonder what impact that will have. How the new OC is going to work with Jared Goff, who, even though he's had success, he's made it to a Super Bowl, he's put up numbers. I still always questioned Jared Goff just because the big game doesn't seem like he does his best. I mean, we picked him off a couple of times. I think we had a pick six against him, if I'm not mistaken, in that NFC Championship game. So I'm wondering, I always have a question mark with Jared Goff. But other than that, I think the team is stacked. They're going to have Aiden Hutchinson back. They signed DJ Reed, cornerback. I think that's going to be a really good addition for them in that secondary where they were kind of weak last year. Terry Arnold started to come on late. Do like Brian Branch. But I want to see how that defense looks now, especially with the new defensive coordinator too. But with Aiden Hutchinson back, I think they'll be good. I am slightly concerned. They did their D tackle, I believe. I know it was a D lineman, Alon McNeil. I want to say his name is. Apologies if I said your name wrong, sir. But I know he dealing with a torn ACL. So they signed D tackle Roy Lopez in free agency. Draft wise, they did pick up a draft guy out of Ohio State. He's a D tackle, Tyleek Williams. So want to see how that D line gels along with Aiden Hutchinson coming back, who I've read from reports is doing really good in preseason and training camp, things like that. So I'm sure he'll be back where he left off when he broke his leg on that crazy play. I think it's like whiplash effect type of deal when he slung and hit his own player. I think it was against the Cowboys too, if I'm not mistaken. But all in all, I think this team will still be battling for the top position in NFC North. I can't say right now that they'll be in first place, but I think they'll be battling for first place, maybe second place. But I can see them in the tie for first, at worst, a second place finish. I just think overall, the team as a whole is great. In the running game, which I have not mentioned, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, in my opinion, two number one type running backs. Jahmyr Gibbs is on a ascend, in my opinion. He'll probably be even better this year, especially when he catches the ball out of the backfield. He's really good at that too. Sam Laporta too. I also like Jameson Williams. I didn't mention Amon-Ra St. Gibbs, but Jameson Williams, he came on really good as the season was going on. And he's really good stretching the field. Like, he's a speedster out there. So I think he'll do good. But my only concern, should I say question mark, is Jared Goff. No offense. And then what the coaching is going to look like this year, now that they got a new OC and a new DC. Brandon, what do you think about the team?
Yeah, you lose one coordinator, it's usually a struggle. You lose two, it can be detrimental to the team. Eagles were the last team, I think. The last good team to lose both their coordinators to head coaching jobs like the Lions did this past season. It wasn't as good for them the next season. But Detroit, I think the glaring concern for me is the interior of the offensive line. I believe his name was Frank Ragnow, was the center, if I'm not mistaken. He retired. They made some moves up front to make up for it. They penciled in the rookie second rounder Tate Radlich at right guard. We see rookies start on offensive lines all the time across the league at one way or another. But the difference is with Detroit, and they're kind of like Miami in this situation, is that there are a lot of pre-snap motions, a lot of shifts. We saw what Ben Johnson did there, the last couple of years. Of course, he's gone, but that can be hard for a rookie to get adjusted to those new snap counts and stuff, all that type of stuff that goes on before the snap goes off. And then it may not make sense, but to me, I thought about it, but does the loss of Ben Johnson affect Jared Goff's accuracy? He and Tua, and again, going back to Miami, he and Tua, one of the two most accurate quarterbacks in the National Football League. He still has the personnel, but the play calls, the cadence, and the voice in his ear will be different this season. So we'll see how that goes. Defensive side of the ball, I think they're another one of those teams with premier playmakers at each level. We got Alex Anzalone, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Jack Campbell there at the linebacker position. Brian Branch at the safety position. And of course, Ed's guy from the University of Michigan, Aiden Hutchinson. He's coming back off of injury. Lions fans just hoping that all those guys on defense can stay healthy. It was a difference last season with those guys out. Games against Buffalo and Washington. If y'all go back and watch that film, you'll see how those two teams picked them apart. Their defense there, but yeah, I see it hard for them to reach 15-2 again. Plus, I like Minnesota and I do like Green Bay just a little bit more because again, the loss of both coordinators, I think that's going to be big, and that center position, Frank Ragnow, uh, that's going to be interesting to see how that offensive line. I know it's just one guy, and they got a really, really good offensive line, but one guy can make a hell of a difference. We've seen that before. Um, I think they could go to the playoffs, but I think I got them finishing third place.
Gotcha. See how it turns out for them. Let's get into the Minnesota Vikings. I think they they certainly shocked me last year, winning 14 games with Sam Darnold. That defense was really good, causing havoc for a lot of players out there. Brandon, what are your thoughts on the Minnesota Vikings going into next year?
Man, this defense, man, rated R. That's the one way I think about them, how violent they can be. A season ago, just almost came out of nowhere. Their defensive side of the ball, honestly, fifth in points surrendered, 9 forced fumbles on the season, 24 interceptions, 49 sacks. You got guys like Byron Murphy, Andrew Van Ginkel, new guys, Hargrave, Jonathan Allen comes over there. And you got the veteran back there in Harrison Smith, man, the guy that seems like he's never going to retire, and he's still playing at a high level. And then you got an angry defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, who's been overlooked for head coaching positions since he's left Miami. I expect the same intensity from this defense this coming season. You never know where they're going to blitz from. They play good man-to-man defense. They're just downright good. I mean, there's no other way to describe them. Offensively, I think they'll take a little bit of step forward with J.J. McCarthy. I mean, we're talking about a guy in Sam Darnold that came out of nowhere and shocked us, but then the last two games, he kind of fell off. Um, three, he's got three good things that a lot of quarterbacks don't have. He's got T.J. Hawkinson, a premier tight end, Jordan Addison, and I know he's been suspended, I think, for the first 3 or 6 games, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, 3 games.
But yeah, you also have an LSU wide receiver. Those guys can ball. So I think JJ McCarthy is poised to make a good first impression in his second year in the league, but his first real year starting. Um, they do have a very favorable schedule to start as well. They got games against Chicago, Atlanta, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. I think Kevin O'Connell and again Brian Flores they're two of the best at offense and defense in the business. I think the Vikings are going to take first place in the NFC North. What about you?
Yeah, we'll see. I agree with you on the defensive side of the ball, especially like you said, they signed my boy Jonathan Allen. I think he'll be a great addition for that D line, wreaking havoc on quarterbacks and in the run game. I like their linebackers too, Ivan Pace. I like him a lot. That defense confuses a lot of people, like you said, a lot of interceptions, a lot of sacks. I do have some question marks on the offensive side of the ball. Want to start with my guy, Go Blue. Just I don't know, a rookie quarterback. I got to see how he looks. JJ McCarthy out there. I know he kind of had a redshirt year dealing with the torn meniscus. He had a little bit of preseason action last year, and he was able to sit on the sideline behind the clipboard and learn without having to make mistakes and anything. So I'm sure that's going to be good for him. But I just got to see how he looks out there before I can really say if he's going to be good or not. I'm not too sure. And as you mentioned, Jordan Addison being suspended the first 3 games. Justin Jefferson, I think he's dealing with like a hamstring injury. So is he going to be banged up a little bit coming into the year? Not too sure. They did sign 2 when we talked about the Colts in the AFC South. They signed 2. The Vikings did 2 of their offensive linemen, the center Ryan Kelly and their guard Will Fries. So is that line going to be new and improved? We'll see. I like Aaron Jones, the running back. They also picked up Jordan Mason from the Niners last year. I'm just slightly concerned with the offense, honestly. Right now, I got them finishing in third place, in my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if they, fell back to fourth place, honestly. I definitely don't think they'll win 14 games again. But that defense, I think will be really good. Looking at who they drafted, they had about 5 picks this year. Drafted another O lineman with their first round pick, lineman out of Ohio State, Donovan Jackson. And then looking at the bottom end of the draft, they drafted the D lineman in the 5th round, a linebacker in the 6th round, and the tight end in the 6th round as well. Yeah, man, I'm not too sure, honestly. I like JJ McCarthy. I'm biased just because, he's out of Michigan and everything. I just got to see. I don't know. A rookie, technically not a rookie, but rookie, in my opinion, quarterback coming in, game play wise, at least. I'm not too sure, man. The defense, I trust. I have a lot of trust in the defense. I think they'll be competitive and even win some games. But I just got to see what he looks like. He probably proved me wrong because, Michigan guy. But I don't know, man. I think the Vikings, I got them finishing 3rd, probably 4th place, in my opinion. So we'll see how that goes.
I will say this, though. I know Justin Jefferson a little banged up, but Justin Jefferson at 60, 75% is better than most receivers in this league. So I'm not going to bet against him either. All right, everyone. You're watching the Breaking and Entering podcast. He's Ed. I'm Brandon. Bears fans, they're hoping that a retooled offensive line will be enough to help push them into the playoffs this season after a 5-12 campaign in 2024. Ed, what are your thoughts on the Bears?
I think they'll be better than they were last year. I mean, a lot of games they were okay. It was just coaching, in my opinion, had a lot to do with it. Decision making was just poor. They brought in a bunch of new coaches this year, like you mentioned. Ben Johnson coming as a head coach. They also hired Dennis Allen, as a defensive coordinator. He has previous experience as head coaching as well. So I think both of those sides. I think Ben Johnson will help Caleb Williams a lot. I think Dennis Allen is going to help that defense a lot. Who else did they pick up? Deacon Doyle is they're going to be their offensive coordinator now. I just think kind of how like the Commanders were last year, wholesale changes with the coaching staff really did a lot. Don't get me wrong. Now, Jaden Daniels helped a lot too, but Dan Quinn coming in, I think it's going to be good. I know Ben Johnson is a rookie head coach coming in. It's first time being a head coach too, but I just feel like he'll do better than the previous regime because, I mean, Caleb Williams was just, oh, good Lord almighty. I mean, he was good, but like, it's like the person, like if you looking at it from a Madden standpoint and you playing with him on Madden, you would just have him doing stuff that like doesn't make sense, like throwing the ball out of bounds when it's third and 2 or something like that. It's just, he wasn't directed the right way, in my opinion. But overall, as a team, looking at who they picked up in the draft, excuse me right quick. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Still a little bit under the weather right there. But this tight end, Colston Loveland, they already had a pretty decent tight end in Cole Kmet. I think they're adding more and more pieces around Caleb Williams. I think that's going to help him a lot. They picked up, McCole Hartman, a veteran wide receiver too. They did lose Keenan Allen, but I think DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, those guys are going to be good. They picked up another receiver in the draft, Luther Burton. I think the pieces on the offensive side of the ball this year will be a little better. Hopefully that line is improved. But I think Ben Johnson and these guys coming in are going to help the Bears a lot. Right now, I got them in 3rd place. But I think they'll challenge for the playoffs. I think Caleb Williams will be a little better. I mean, we talked about his stats when we were talking about quarterbacks making, who's going to take a step back and who's going to take a step forward, things like that. His stats weren't bad. The play might have been not great, but his stats weren't bad. I think he can, have those same type of numbers even better. But the productivity, the efficiency, I think that'll be even better this year. So right now, I got the Bears in 3rd place. I think Ben Johnson is going to be a breath of fresh air for Caleb, and I think he's going to, tailor the offense. Him and the new offensive coordinator going to tailor the offense more to what Caleb Williams likes to do, what he can do, and that'll be a huge improvement. And I think Dennis Allen is going to have that defense playing really good too. My boy Montez Sweat, another year with the Bears. I think they'll surprise some people this year. If they don't, Caleb Williams, the seat will be really hot for you. But yeah, that's what I think of the Bears. What are your thoughts, sir?
I said earlier this summer, I'm just not that high on Caleb Williams. I know he played solid a year ago, but his offensive line has got to do better for them to make a step forward. All those trick plays and stuff that Ben Johnson ran in Detroit, it was a whole different personnel out there. They had a better offensive line, they had better wide receivers, they had a hell of a tight end, and his quarterback was a seasoned veteran. We got Caleb going into year two. Yeah, Caleb's going to year two. I think it'll be a step back before things get better. And that's not necessarily saying the entire year, but enough to where they don't finish where they want to go. With that being said, though, I do like this 43 defense that they run out there with Bayard. They got Montez Sweat, Kevin Byard, the safety. Grady Jarrett came over from Atlanta after he got cut. I mean, he signed there within days. It was almost like it was tampering involved. Tremaine Edmonds, and they got two good corners in Jalen Johnson and Tyreek Stevenson. But I just think it'll be another season of growing pains for Chicago. And I can't also get away from the fact of how they played on the road last year and the last couple of years, honestly, in their division. A combined 2 wins on the road and against their division. But they did break a long losing streak against the Packers. So they do have something to hold their heads high on heading into the season with that goes. But yeah, I think it'll be a step back before it'll be a step forward, perhaps. Maybe in the weeks 14 to 18, they start, showing some signs of life. I think it'll be a fourth place finish for the Bears of Chicago in 2025.
And I want to go back. Sorry, I made a mistake. I said McCole Hardman was with the Bears. That's not true. Sorry about that, everyone. All right, let's get into the Green Bay Packers. A lot of injuries they dealt with last year, but they still did pretty good. Brandon, what are your thoughts about the Packers going into the next season?
So, yeah, I feel like this team's got to continue to rely on their defense in 2025. They were among the league's best when it came to forcing turnovers and sacking the quarterback. I'm high on Lucas Van Ness, Rashawn Gary, Edgerrin Cooper, Xavier McKinney, Quay Walker. I feel like Xavier McKinney just got banged up this week here. But Quay had a bit of a step back last season, but he could be one of the better defenders in the league when he's healthy. I know you and I have texted about him before, last year, the year before. They got to continue to create short fields for Jordan Love and company, and score some touchdowns as well on the defensive side of the ball to help this offense that isn't always consistent. That's the issue there. We know Josh Jacobs is going to do his thing. Fresh off of 1,300 yards rushing, he had 15 touchdowns on the ground. I expect the same thing for him in his sophomore year with the Packers. But Jordan Love, my guy, got to cut back on our turnovers, man, if they want a shot at the playoffs. He had 11 interceptions, and mind you, he missed about a handful of games. So that's a lot of interceptions in probably 12, 13 games that he played. The wide receiver group, I like. They have guys that can do all different types of things. They don't necessarily have a number one wide receiver. They are really high on Matthew Golden out of Texas. Part of the reason why is because he came from Texas, so he can run. Those guys that come out of Texas can fly. Xavier Worthy also came from the University of Texas, and he's with the Chiefs. We all know how he can get up and down the field. And number two is because that's the first round pick at wide receiver since years ago. I can't even remember who the last guy was. But yeah, this team is consistently in the win column during the regular season. So I anticipate them continue with the winning ways. I think they've had 10 wins under Matt LaFleur just about every season that he's been there, 10 wins or more. I got them finishing second place in the NFC North. How do you feel about them?
Yes, sir. Glad you mentioned Jordan Love and his injuries. I think that had a huge impact on his performance. Week 1, MCL sprain, like the last series of the game. He was initially expected to miss like 3 to 6 weeks for that, but he came back earlier. That wasn't the only injury he dealt with. He had a groin injury about middle of the season. I want to say like week 8 or 9, something like that. And then he finished off the season with an elbow injury. I think that, he was just banged up a lot of the season. I think that contributed a lot to his inconsistency and the turnovers, as you mentioned. I think that had a lot to do with his gameplay. If he can stay healthy this year, I think he'll be, the best quarterback in this division. I really like Jaden Reed. I called him a new and improved Debo Samuel, in my opinion. He gets the ball after the catch, and he's really good running. I do like Matthew Golden pickup. Want to see how he looks out there. Only concern, they did lose Christian Watson. Want to say he tore his ACL or had a devastating knee injury late in the season. He was pretty much their number one receiver. So how's that going to impact the passing game? I think they'll be okay, but I want to see how that impacts their passing game. But as long as Jordan Love is healthy, I think they'll find a way to win. Defensive side of the ball, even though he wasn't playing much, he was getting banged up a lot. They did release Jair Alexander. I thought he was their best, secondary player, their best cornerback. How's that going to impact the defense? This is random, but I'm thinking of back when Josh Norman was with the Panthers when they went to the Super Bowl that one year. The next year he was off the team, and that defense was thoroughly impacted. Like they were missing the cornerback, and Josh Norman was there. So I'm not saying the same thing is going to happen with Jair Alexander, but it's an example of what could happen. One player leaves, and next thing you know, the defense is just not the same. So I'm interested to see how that goes. But all in all, even with all that, I think the Packers are going to finish in first place. I got a lot of trust and faith in Jordan Love, honestly. In my opinion, I just think he's really talented. If they're not in first place, they're going to be tied for first place. But I think it's between Green Bay and Detroit for who's going to win this division. Right now, I'm leaning toward the Green Bay Packers. I like some of the pickups they had, like I mentioned, Matthew Golden. They also picked up a tackle in the second round, Anthony Belton out of NC State. They picked up another wide receiver in the third round, Savion Williams out of TCU. Not Texas, but he's from he went to a college in the state of Texas, so maybe he's a Blazer too. So right now, I'm thinking the Packers are going to finish in first place. Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, they're going to do their thing. So I really like the Packers right now. So give me the Packers to win the NFC North. That's how I'm feeling about it. Do you wanted to say something?
No, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I got the Packers right now finishing first in NFC North. Yes, sir.
Okay. That's all.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, this week we definitely were way different in our predictions what teams finishing in the NFC North. But let's talk a little bit about the preseason week 1 thoughts. We got a game tonight that I'm really looking forward to. Browns taking on the Panthers. We all heard the news that Shedeur Sanders is going to get to start. So I'm really going to try to tune in and see how he does out there because I root for the guy. He's got a lot of hoopla noise just with the draft alone and stuff like that. I'm just rooting for him. Hopefully he does well. There were some games on last night. Raiders, Seahawks returned to Pete Carroll, Jamal Adams. I think there were a couple other players who were on the teams or used to play for different teams in the past. So that was pretty interesting to watch. There was a rookie on the Seahawks I drafted in my dynasty league in fantasy football, Torrey Horton Jr., out of Colorado State. He had a touchdown for the Seahawks. I think he was a 4th or 5th round pick. He's looking pretty good out there. So that was pretty cool to see. We got my Commanders playing tonight, but I don't think anybody I don't think like Jaden Daniels or anybody like that's going to play. I think they're playing the Patriots. Speaking of, there was some news this week. There was a little scuffle. Mike Vrabel got involved trying to break it up. Once he got pulled out of the pile, he had a little blood on his cheek, blah, blah, blah. Now the Patriots players love him even more. Thought that was kind of funny and cool to watch. But any thoughts on preseason week 1? Any teams you looking to watch for, anything like that?
Yeah, looking back at Thursday night's games, Bengals, Eagles, I believe it was.
Yeah.
We know that preseason games couldn't end in a tie. Sorry, that's Raiders Seahawks. We knew preseason games couldn't end in a tie, and it kind of sucked when I looked at it after the game because I was working and I didn't realize that it ended in a tie. And I'm like, damn, like I would have rather see them go into overtime. Because I don't think we know it's been a rule for years, but I don't remember any recently. I could be way off, but no, we don't pay much attention to preseason anyway. But that's a thought on that one. Bengals, Eagles, man, Joe Burrow gonna be a problem this year. He's gonna be a problem. I think he only had one incompletion,
9 to
2
10.
touchdowns. Yeah, Jamar Chase had a touchdown, 70-some yards, if I'm not mistaken. They're gonna be a problem. I know T. Higgins was held catchless, but I'm a little nervous about them. The offense now. We all know the defense a little shaky. Uh, but to my game, Ravens fans, we've been talking about it online most last night and today. Devin Leary, man, is just. I hope Lamar Jackson stays healthy. Cooper Rush threw an interception last night. Devin Leary threw an interception. They both got sacked. Devin Leary was 3 for 12. It wasn't no better last preseason. I was hoping that we would have seen an improvement this preseason because he's had a whole year to basically sit behind Lamar, and he had Josh Johnson last year as well. It didn't improve. Special teams though was on fire, man. I texted you. We probably got our kick returner, LeJontay Wester out of Colorado. I know you've seen him play in person. So you had told us about him in the post-draft show. He had an 87-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Excuse me, that was a punt return. Our kick returner, Rashawn Ali, he was a rookie last year, as well as Keaton Mitchell. They both played pretty well. I'm not too fond of Keaton playing special teams, at least in a returner position, because I think we can utilize him more in the backup run game as well. But I mean, if he's productive, I'll put him out there. I'll be on board with it. Tyler Loop, you brought it to my attention. He missed a field goal because I hadn't even looked at the stats at that point. And I know he made one from 52. I didn't see how long the miss was, but I was kind of hoping that it was. I know one drive in the first half. I want to say it was our final touchdown drive in the first half. We went for it on 4th down, ended up getting it, and we ended up scoring the touchdown. I was kind of hoping that they kicked try to let him get more kicks in. Because, this is the best time to get it. You know what I'm saying? We don't want these mistakes come week 1, week 7, something like that down the line. Pass defense was still a little bit shaky. Yesterday, I know they was targeting who was the TJ Tampa, our 4th round from last year, if I'm not mistaken. They was targeting. But yeah, looking forward to the games. Like you said, today and the rest of the weekend, definitely that Browns game, seeing how Shador does. I know that you brought it to my attention. They're not going to play most of the starters, and I think they're playing Carolina. If I'm not mistaken, Carolina does plan on playing. I just hope if they're going to put him out there, they might as well put him out there for the entire game because there's no point of bringing Tyler Huntley in there, which I think he's the only other healthy quarterback on the roster. We already know what Tyler Huntley could do. I love the boy. That's my boy. But we need to see what Shador can do and give him a chance to earn his spot in the National Football League. So yeah.
Yeah. I do want to say I saw some highlights of Keaton Mitchell. I remember him a lot his rookie year too, before he had that knee injury. I thought he was going to be our next guy y'all just found out of the blue, because I think he was a late round draft pick. If he goes back to how he was looking his rookie year, I think we were texting about, I think y'all run game is going to be pretty much unstoppable. He'll give Derrick Henry some less tread on his tires, so y'all can use him in the postseason. If Keaton Mitchell can do what he was doing last night, I think y'all gonna be real good in the run game. Unstoppable.
One minor correction: Keaton Mitchell was undrafted, and so was his father, who played for us. Yeah, his father played for us and won Super Bowl back in 2000 with us, Anthony Mitchell. And Keaton Mitchell reminds me of Willie Parker. He's just a little bit bigger, I think. Willie Parker got that nickname Fast Willie Parker for a reason, man. Keaton Mitchell can fly. That boy, if you look down at your phone or look out the window and you turn back to the TV, he damn near 30 yards down the field. And you're like, wow, what happened? The guy is fast. So
they were saying explosive a lot when mentioning his name last night.
Him, we got a good running back trio. Him, Justice Hill, and Keaton Mitchell, man. I mean, and Derrick Henry. I think no concerns. Knock on wood. Hopefully no injuries. We should be good in that department this coming season for sure.
Yeah, definitely. definitely. Your boy, I think Jackson Dart, he's also gonna play. Trying to think of
yeah.
the other rookie. I want to see whenever Cam Ward. What is Cam Ward playing? Definitely want to see
Yeah, I
when
want to see him too.
Cam
They
Ward
need to
play.
they need to start giving that man his flowers, giving him his attention.
They play the Buccaneers Saturday.
Yeah, I hope that's on
7:30
national.
East, 7:30 Eastern time, 4:30 West Coast time. Trying to think anybody else that I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah. Actually, I'm wondering if Michael Penix is gonna play. I think it should be good for him to play
I think
a
they
little
said
bit.
both of them. I think him and Cousins are sitting, from what I saw.
Okay, gotcha.
Drake May is playing though.
Yeah, he needed.
Yeah, he do. He got a new offensive coordinator. You're right. Oh, Titans won't be on national TV. Damn.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, man. They could have flexed that game to national NFL Network. Because the NFL Network got a triple header, if I'm not mistaken, on Saturday. Oh no,
Yeah.
they got something else like that. Yeah, the Titans. I don't like the Titans, but Cam Ward has not been getting the respect that he deserved for a number one pick. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how Jackson Dart does for the Giants. Yeah, I guess I'll have more thoughts on him next week after I see his play. See how
Yeah,
he
we'll
look
see
out
how
there.
it goes.
Yep. All right, everyone. We appreciate all of our viewers and supporters. Please take a moment to hit the subscribe button on your screen. Follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Podcast B&E, and on IG at B&E Podcasts. We got the AFC East. Next week, we're going to break down their division. I can't wait to see what Ed thinks about the Patriots. That'll be something to look forward to, everyone. But we got to go. Until next time, love one another.